We were actually working on an alternate investment thesis, surveying on the space, looking to take some bets. But when we met you guys, it felt like you would be the right custodian of capital.
We were discussing that, okay, how much of the capital is a good capital to have. I think that's where some of the interactions that we have had helped us a lot.
Given our family backgrounds, we were pushed into jobs. I started with being a negative millionaire. So that steady stream of cash was very, very important. There are a lot of resources for equities, but fixed income के लिए कुछ है नहीं market में. So we saw a gap as well. So what our product does is lets the users to explore the interest rates across more than 200 banks available in the country and figure out what is the best FD for him.
I think Sachin, everybody knows, has built great companies, Flipkart and now Navi. He's also very focused on the right team and giving bigger responsibility to the people who show the right attitude. 3 very important decisions that you should spend most of your time on.
Hi everyone, welcome to Matrix Moments. Anand here. I spend most of my time learning about fintech and financial services companies and invest in early stage startups. Today we have special guests Saurabh and Harish. They have started Stable Money and we are fortunate to partner with them in their journey. A little bit about Saurabh and Harish. Saurabh, prior to this, was leading the mutual fund business of Navi. Before that, he was chief of staff at Swiggy and played a pivotal role in scaling Swiggy from 30 cities to 500. Harish, prior to this, was a lifetime trader, did some great stuff at ST Advisors for close to 8 years, was one of the fastest growing traders there. They both are from IIT Bombay, that's where they met. And they have come together to start Stable Money, which is a first of its kind fixed income investment platform. And they have started with FDs, they just went live. So today we'll discuss about their journeys and a little bit about Stable Money. So Saurabh, Harish, thanks for coming and great to host you guys. Before we dive into Stable Money, would love to know, right, I keep meeting so many aspiring founders and the biggest question that they face in their life while at jobs or their previous stints is whether to take the jump or not, right? How is this conviction building process like, right? We often talk about 0 to 1, 1 to 10, 10 to infinity. But we seldom talk about -1 to 0, right? सबसे बड़ा question वही होता है, conviction कैसे build करें and how should we go about this? So each one of you, right? How was this personal journey like for you to decide कि हाँ अब हो गया and let's jump and start something of my own?
Yeah, so I think what I've realized, this being the third venture, actually is that you don't need the courage for the entire 2 to 5 years that you will put in as a startup, right? You just need the courage for that one moment of going and deciding, okay, I want to leave this and start something of my own. Because then the momentum will start picking up and then you will keep getting team, keep getting energy, keep getting momentum on building your own venture, then going from 0 to 1, 1 to 100. So I think that -1 to 0, just put up that courage to take a call that you want to leave. I think that's what has worked for me. And second thing is, while making the decisions, right, I always believe in that regret minimization. Even in the last 10, 12 years of my career, that by not doing this, will I regret more versus doing this? And always the answer will be that go take that risk, jump into this. So I think that was the one thing when I actually left Navi almost a year back now.
Got it. And when you were doing this, right, you talked about just focusing on the first 2 years and minimizing regret. But how did you go about backing yourself that this is something which I can do, I can go out there, I can raise funds, I can build a large team and build a scalable business. So talk a little bit about how your experience at Navi and Swiggy helped shape this confidence.
Yeah, so I think there are a couple of things. One is while working at Navi and Swiggy, the people who are around you, I think that gives you a lot of confidence in terms of you'll be able to achieve certain things. When I got opportunity to scale in Swiggy, when I got opportunity in Navi to lead the Navi mutual fund, I was honestly not very confident that I'll be able to do this. But I think the confidence given by your peers and colleagues and managers and founders, I think that plays a very pivotal role. But the second thing is when you are into this, right, the people around you matter the most when you're outside the company building something. Like that's where when Harish and I started, we know there are a lot of ups and downs that has come in the last 1 year and that will come. But we keep backing each other. And then having people like you around who keep supporting that, okay, all will be okay. I think these are some of the things that has always helped, and not only for me, whatever other founders that I've met. So yeah.
And who was the first one who picked up the phone and decided कि चलो करते हैं, right? Harish, was it you who picked up the phone and said कि let's start up, or was it you, Saurabh?
No, it wasn't me. In fact, so just to go through my journey, both of us started our careers by being entrepreneurs. In our final year at college, we started something called Edgeways, where we used to collaborate with Jain coaching institutes to develop video lectures, test series. We made a lot of pocket money, for first EdTech in the country, perhaps. Uske baad, I think for the both of us, given our family backgrounds, we were pushed into jobs. For me personally, I started with being a negative millionaire. I had to, close that gap. So that steady stream of cash was very, very important for me. So that's what took me 10, 15 years to get into that. And I always lacked that courage to take a plunge. I wanted some trigger. This thought was always brewing in my mind. I think Saurabh was the trigger, who out of the blue one day calls me and asks if I wanted to do something together. I'm always very, very calculated in my investments, in my life. I calculated everything to the T that I wanted to start up by 2023, March, April. And this was 2022, September. Iska call aata hai, asks if I wanted to do something together. And the only consideration was I wanted to hit some number financially. फिर मेरे को लगा यार, I wait 6 months, find another co-founder, go through that journey, or go along with Saurabh. We've known each other for 15 years, been the best of friends. We know we can support each other in ups and downs, and hence decided to take this path. So technically, he owes me a lot of money.
We'll make money, but it was so fast that, and I know Harish does so much of calculation. So on 11th September, I still remember I called him. And before he changes his mind, on 18th, I met him and finally agreed, okay, ab I'm just going out and saying that we are starting together. So I think that was one quick ride.
And Harish, if you could talk a little bit about your ST experience, right? You have been a lifetime trader. You're doing great stuff at ST. I remember doing our diligence, calling up some of your colleagues, and they're mentioning you're the fastest one to grow there, managing a large book. So how did you transition, right? Thinking, doing, say, algo trading, to thinking of starting something, say, in fixed income, and we'll cover stable money in detail. But how was your transition like?
So even while at ST, when I was developing algos, I'd automatically reject an algo which does not guarantee me a profit every day. So even though I was doing very high return stuff, I was very, very cognizant about risk-adjusted returns. So the thought process was very, fixed income-like. And one thing that I was not very satisfied with the algo trading journey is that, we create a large sum of money, but for a small set of people. Whatever I wanted to do next, I wanted it to have an impact on a large set of people. So, fixed income seemed to be that broad space in which I can work. So that's how I took the plunge.
Got it. And talk a little bit about your startup back in 2010 or 9. What was this year, and did you guys understood more GTM?
9.
2009, I guess, yeah. Towards the end of 2009.
Was these words cool back then, and what was the experience like? And when you guys look back 14 years hence, starting up again together, talk a little bit about that journey.
So back then, I think the primary goal was to make some money, I guess. And we thought we only knew EdTech by then. We only knew Ed because we thought, hey, we have decent ranks at JE, maybe we can leverage this up. Saurabh had a few connects in and around Aurangabad. We decided to go to them. I don't think we even had a very good product to sell. We made that up maybe in a week or two. Spoke to a few institutions, and we could quickly, maybe I guess in 1 or 2 months, start these partnerships and made a bunch of money. In hindsight, we should have continued that, but yeah.
And Saurabh, 5 years post that, right? 5 to 6 years post that, you again decided to do a startup named Truce, right? How did that go? And I know we have chatted about this a lot, right? You keep talking about some of the learnings, mistakes that you made there, which are coming very handy right now. So can you talk a little bit about it? What went right and what were some of the learnings?
Sure. So we started in 2015 and we did it for 2 years. It was an agri-tech company. It was B2B2C. So we were procuring raw material from the farmers, and idea is to deliver it to the restaurants. So that was the business that we were doing, and we did it for 2 years. And another one of my good friend from college, we started it, and based out of Bombay, we did that, raised a small angel in building this. But I think one of the few mistakes that we have made, and this, I think some of these mistakes we realized while working at Swiggy and Navi, and not when we were actually doing that, is that team played a very critical role. Team always plays a very critical role, right? And when we start building the team, you always want to be very frugal. You don't want to spend, and we actually hired people for that specific role at that point in time to save the cost. And we actually didn't go deeper, understanding the people will play so much of critical role in future. And what happened because of that is when Truce started scaling up after 6 to 8 months, right? Most of these people could not scale. And by virtue of that, we got too much involved into the day-to-day activity and completely lost the tangent that the Swiggy and Zomato as a businesses are coming up and scaling so fast. That means the restaurants are adopting technology so fast, and they will be adopting not only on the front end for the customers, but they'll also adopt for the procurement, right? And that's where we actually missed that opportunity, completely pivoted to getting into a completely B2B kind of a model, which was very different from restaurants. And yeah, I still remember when we actually shut it down, returned the money to the investors, maybe 3 to 4 months back, a comparatively smaller company was acquired and became the Hyperpure for Zomato. So, but yeah, I think after not doing that EdTech, this was maybe the second regret that I have of doing that. And how we are solving this is, I think Harish and I are both very clear that whatever is the idea, and we believe in that idea, but team will play a very, very critical role. And that's where when we started Stable Money, it is almost now 7, 8, 10 months now. Our initial 4 or 5 months was focused only on 2 things. First is building the right team, and second is understanding the customers better, right? So, and I think that was the core work. Initial 4 or 5 months, we didn't do anything other than that. So, I think that was one big learning I take from Truce, and so far, we believe that we have done a fairly good job on that.
Yeah. And if you think about it, right, we always keep talking about stakeholders as the company grows, right? Customers, your team, your investors, your co-founders, these are the key stakeholders. And I think it does make sense to spend your first few months just getting all those things right to build a fundamentally strong company. And one of the reasons we also ended up investing was we saw a pattern of you identifying right sectors, right? Ed in 2009, then commerce in 2016, and then we thought maybe if you have picked it, fixed income would be the next big thing. Just kidding, obviously. There's a lot of diligence to it. But yeah, no, for us also, I think we obviously had been spending a lot of time understanding fixed income, alternates, what's happening in the wealth domain. But the moment we met you guys, we struck a chord, and it felt like you guys are the right custodians of capital and someone we would love to partner with. And that is how we also sort of think, right? Understanding the founder's right is more important than the next steps, which is building a sustainable business. So that's where we landed up. Moving forward, sort of from your Truce journey, you ended up working with two of the stalwarts in the industry very closely, right? Harsha and Sachin. What was the experience like? Tell us a little bit of stories which you haven't told anyone. Right, I'll put you on the spot. You are there on Stable Stories. Give us some new stories.
Yeah, no, I think I was very fortunate that I got opportunity at the right time, right? When I joined Swiggy, I think they had just raised the growth capital, and the idea was to scale from like 1 lakh order to a 3 lakh order. That was the first task that I was supposed to do, and that was the time when Harsha was very hands-on onto how day-to-day operations are happening. Are we building the right processes? Are we focusing on the customers a lot, right? So I think that gave me an exposure in terms of, I think that was the first time I realized that how having a critical team and having a complete faith in the team plays such a critical role. Like once you hire somebody and set the goal very clearly, Harsha used to take a back off and then focus on the next things. A close watch on what is happening. And I think because of that, I think Swiggy was able to not only scale in the food delivery business, but actually went beyond that and did a lot of things, bunch of mistakes, learning from that and keep doing better things. So I think that was one clear interactions or clear learning that I have from Harsha. I think Sachin, everybody knows, has built great companies, Flipkart and now Navi. He's very clear about, he's also very focused on the right team and giving bigger responsibility to the people who show the right attitude, even if they don't have the right skill sets about or domain expertise about that particular business, right? So he was the one who actually taught me, saying that don't hire for the intercept, right? Don't hire that, or somebody belongs to this industry, so he's the perfect person to get into that. Hire for the slope. Whatever initial background knowledge or initial understanding of the industry that you need, you get consultants who will help you build that, but build a team which can actually scale very fast when there is ambiguity, when they face a lot of challenges. These people will be able to adapt very quickly. I think these are certain things what I have learned, and even now at Stable Money, if you see, our team is very young. Yeah. A lot of people in the team are not coming from the similar background or anywhere close to fintech, but these people are actually doing a fabulous job when they are given the responsibility of doing it. So these are certain things that I believe has really shaped us on a day-to-day level. I always keep thinking that how will Sachin react to this, and how will Harsha do this, and that plays a very influential role in how I make a decision on a day-to-day level. Yeah,
that's very inspiring and interesting. So after you guys decided that you're taking the plunge and taking it together, next step which comes is kaun se sector mein banana hai, right? How did you guys arrive at fintech? And then in fintech, right, there has been so much happening in lending, insurance, a lot of capital flowing there, always on the news, headlines. Why did you guys picked wealth?
I think the first time we met, we did not have any idea कि कहाँ पर क्या करना है. When he came to Delhi, I think fintech broadly, because we both like to believe we understand it slightly better than the other fields. And on the fixed income space, I think both of us faced some problems in our own investing journey, and we spoke to a lot of people around who have been investing by themselves. They understand equity a lot. There are a lot of resources for equities, but fixed income के लिए कुछ है नहीं market में. So we saw a gap as well, and the opportunity size also seemed very, very large. Given the rising income levels in the country. And where this wealth tech is going to be over the next 5 to 10 years. So we felt like wealth and fixed income was the right idea to get into. And also, I think speaking to a couple of VCs and you guys, I think we could find there was a lot of interest here, and that gave us a lot of confidence in thinking that this was the right field to be.
But sort of, why not say pick lending over? I'll push you a little bit there, right? Why go for wealth?
So, like for example, if we had to start 4 or 5 years back, we would have started with stockbroking or mutual fund. If we had to start maybe a couple of years back, we would have picked up lending. But interestingly, one of the trends that we have seen is Indian retail segment got into the stockbroking and mutual fund and all these investment asset in the last 5 years. That's where I think that was the golden period, and I think it will still continue in future. In last 4 or 5 years, so many retail investors got into equity markets and mutual fund markets. And it was always the time that at whatever point you enter, within few months, within few years, you'll always make money. Yeah. And then COVID happened and the recession happened, right? And that was the first time that this large set of few million Indians who are doing the investment right now have started realizing that it's not so easy to make money, right? Yeah. You need to have that portfolio allocation, which I think the top 1% of India or good investors will always promote. And we thought that I think this is a good time to work on this particular emotion, that how do you do the portfolio allocation? There are this is the same retail investors who opens their phone and book a stock or book mutual funds or order on Swiggy or book a cab on Ola and Uber. But when it comes to fixed return products, right, there is no such product. The same user feels that he's not the expert or not smart when it comes to fixed return. So I think, a couple of years back, maybe lending, 4 or 5 years back, maybe mutual fund and stock. But we genuinely believe that in next 4 or 5 years to come, that there will be 4 or 5 large companies in India who is just focused on fixed return. And that requires different expertise, and we believe we'll be able to get that to our customers.
If you can bring it to life, who are these people that you're trying to build for? What is their persona? What do they do, right? I was doing my own surveys, and one insight I got is fixed income FDs में तो पैसे landlords डाल रहे हैं in Bangalore, right? Everyone else is spending. So what is the user insight you got, and who are you trying to build for?
So I think we realized that the biggest segment is 22 to 35 kind of a age group who is started making money, who are the people who keep following a lot of influencer, personal advisors, keep doing research on their own about how to manage the money. And most of the retail investors in India, people like us, are genuinely first-time rich. Yeah. People who worked really hard, parents work really hard. And these are the people who really understand the value of money and don't want to put the entire money into equities and mutual fund, right? So I think this is the TG for which we want them to focus on what they are good at and to manage their 35-40% of the capital which has to be in the fixed return product to be with the stable money. So that, I think that's the kind of TG that we are working upon. And some of the users that we have seen are doing, and I think this is very contrary to some of the influencers that we keep hearing, is that FDs or fixed return products is not the good thing. But I think people, when they do their own research, realize that this is an interesting asset which also requires some research, because taxations are a little different, the regulations are a little different, the security and the risk is very different. So believe for this TG, we'll be able to build a product which could satisfy their 35 to 40% of their investment needs.
No, on that, we also did our own research, and we'll share the stats as well with this podcast. Around 60% odd folks were looking for more fixed income options, and they felt that if they are educated in a better way, they'll be open to explore and diversify away from equity. On the lending versus wealth rationale, which I have been pushing you guys on, we have been thinking about it deeply. And we feel that the time has arrived in India where wealth creation is happening. People are trusting digital platforms to invest. And India intrinsically has been a savings-first economy. As GDP explodes, we do believe that Indians would be looking to park a fair share of their money in fixed income assets. This has happened in China as well. Even after the GDP explosion, bulk of the assets even today sits in fixed income assets. So that's what got us excited, apart from obviously meeting you guys
I think even now, I think a fair share of financial assets lie in fixed deposits. The share of fixed deposits is like 5x of where the mutual funds are. So India, I think, largely invests in FDs, and the beauty of it is that everybody has some pie in, fixed income. Even a person who is just hand to mouth, or also the HNIs. So I think the product that we are building could, I think, potentially cater to everybody in the country, but right now, the TG is the DIY investors.
Yeah. Also, to give you some insights on the digitization piece that you are mentioning, right? So some numbers, we have seen that FD is happening in the bank physically. The average ticket size per user is 3.5 lakh. But FD is happening on the net banking. The average ticket size is 65,000, right? So this is like, just this number has to go 5x in next few years to come, right? So that shows that what is the potential of the digitization and the penetration that could happen in years to come.
Let's shift gears, right? After you met each other, arrived at a thesis, the next step is figuring out the resources, right? Which is funding and team. Walk me through first, how was the fundraise experience like? And then we'll cover the team bit.
Yeah. I'll tell you my first, I think first official interaction. Actually, that was before even meeting Harish, was with Vikram. And we were in Indiranagar, and we were chatting and just exploring multiple ideas around what is the opportunities wealth. And we were discussing about what did I learn from Navi Mutual Fund, what the retail investors are talking. He was talking from all the companies that he has seen, how the regulators are working, how the India could look like. I think that gave, I think, the first thought in terms of, okay, where do we want to really play? Yeah, and then when we actually got together and we were clear that we wanted to do something in the fixed return, I think some of these close connects who were helping us over the last couple of months when we were ideating, we reached out to them saying that, okay, this is the team that you have, and this is the idea that we want to work upon. And to be very honest, the clarity of thoughts that we have today as we are talking here was not the same when we were talking 10 months back. We were a little vague. We were clear that this is the area that we want to play into, but exactly what we want to build was not sure. And we were very surprised when the investors said that, okay, we still want to go ahead with whatever idea that we had. Yeah, so I think that gave us a lot of confidence and momentum. There are a lot of things that we also started picking up really fast after that. But just to put the timeline, I think after we met, I think within 2 weeks, we were able to close this entire round. So I think that.
No, I remember those 2 weeks. It was an exciting phase for us as well. We were actually working on an alternate investment thesis, been researching, surveying on the space, looking to take some bets, had some part of our thesis figured, some part not figured. But when we met you guys, each meeting incrementally got us more excited. Not specifically on the thesis bit, we didn't spend so much time on that, but just working with you guys, right? It felt like you would be the right custodian of capital, and someone we would want to be, someone's journey we would want to be part of, and that's what sort of got us the conviction to invest at an early stage.
And it's not only, like, I still remember we were discussing that, okay, how much of the capital is a good capital to have, right? And all those things we were not clear how the market is behaving, what is the right size of the capital. I think that's where some of the interactions that we have had helped us a lot, that, okay, what is the good amount and everything. So a lot of decision on investment also happened as we kept on talking to each other. So I think overall, we also believe that every meeting was a step change improvement for us as well in terms of ideation, how we want to proceed and everything.
Yeah, and it was not just the capital, I guess. We also had a couple of other interested partners, but we wanted those who can also help us with their experience and expertise and push us in the right direction. So that's where this happened.
Yeah. I still remember that research report that you had shared, Anand, about the numbers, and I think that was the time we were thinking that, okay, yes, they definitely know much more about this. So yeah, I think that was one tipping point for us as well.
Got it. After you got the capital and you guys were early in your thesis phase as well, right? How did you went about making your first 5 hires, right? Well, the thesis is still shaping up. What was in you guys that these first 5 hires saw, right? What were you trying to sell? What was the process like? And what were you looking for in your first 5 team hires?
I think for the both of us, we wanted to hire people for the long haul. So we wanted, at least the first check was the vibe match. We wanted to spend the next 3-4 years with these guys. And B, we also wanted people who would be persistent with one idea for a long time. And C, you also need some skill set. So the 3 qualities that we looked were vibe, persistence, and skill set in that order. I think we were selling them our vision of fixed income investing, even though the idea was not crystal clear. But we were sure about the journey that we wanted to take 2-3 years down the line, and that's what it took for them to get on board. And most of these the initial hires came on a hefty pay cut, so they truly believed in the vision that we had.
Yeah, I think we also spend a lot of time because there is always a mix and match of you also need the team fast, but you also need the best people. We always relied heavily on the ref checks or the people that we have worked in the past, right? So a lot of our initial team also came from somebody who has a very strong recommendation about the individual, or somewhere Harish and I have spent time with them in the last 10 years of our journey. In that way, it was very easy for us to trust the person from the day one, which actually generally takes a lot of time, right? And when you have that trust from day one, we were able to move very fast. And then the next set of individual actually came are even much higher quality, right? Because then it's not only you, but those other 5 individuals are also looking for the similar qualities in those people. So yeah, I think those for 5 we were very, very particular about what the refs are, what are the skill sets that we have.
Got it. Talk me through a little bit about how you thought about regulations, right? That most of the fintech startups, we see they end up spending a lot of time in the first year figuring out about regulations, getting the licenses right. I know you guys went through that journey as well. For potential founders and listeners, can you bring it to life? How was your journey like navigating the regulations?
Yeah, I think even in the first 8 months, we went through a lot of regulatory grind. I think the regulations for each of the products that we wanted to offer changed significantly. We wanted to have bonds. SEBI had come up with the stockbroking license to sell bonds. For mutual funds piece, there was a new license which had come up, the execution-only platform. We even had to change the name of one of our companies because one of the words in the company name was banned. So we did go through a lot of regulatory challenges, but stable money, I think we wanted to stand for trust, and we are also custodians of money of the public. So from day one, we were very sure that we want to be extremely compliant with the regulations. We spent significant time in figuring out the org structure, which can allow us to, bring out multiple products to the team. I think we spend quite a lot of time right now in figuring out and getting the right licenses to, bring all our products to the public.
Yeah, I think both of us very genuinely believe in the momentum and trying to do things and learning as you go along. But I think this was the only piece where we both believe what we have also seen, that even if this takes time, we will take as much time as it takes to get the regulatory piece sorted and do the right thing from day one rather than figuring it out later. And that's also one of the reasons why I think coming live for the users took us maybe few additional months than we could have ideally wanted it to be. So yeah.
And did your experience at Navi and for you at ST helped in any way? I remember you speaking about algo licenses, dealing with those at ST. How did those help to arrive at these decisions?
Yeah, definitely. I think the broking piece, my experience in working with the brokers previously had helped us quite a lot. But there are also new nuances to it. We were working with the stockbroking license. Now you need to get a debt broking license. But working with them definitely helped.
And what was your underlying philosophy, right? Whenever you are facing a challenge with, say, making a decision which takes time versus, say, launching early but more in, say, a grey licensing area. What has been the company philosophy like, right? There are people who would push you to sort of move fast, break things. How do you navigate those challenges?
I think fortunately we never pushed to do things in grey area, but what we were always focused on, that regulatory piece is the most critical piece. But we were still moving very fast in terms of our understanding of the customers, Anand. So I don't think, I think very less people in this initial stage must have spent so much time sitting with the customers, talking to the customers. I think we must have individually met maybe a few hundreds of customers and spoken to them about what is the emotion, how do they take the money decisions and everything. So internally for us, we were moving really fast in understanding the customers and building the right product for that customers and everything. But yeah, I think some of these pieces could have taken a little bit time, and that's where we were still very comfortable, the pace at which we were going. And that's why I think once the regulatory pieces were sorted out, we didn't take a lot of time to build that product and put it out to the customers.
No, one thing we always discuss and sort of advise all our portfolio companies is to do things the right way when it comes to regulations, fintech, right? Commerce, ed, health, some of those businesses are different, but when it comes to managing people's money and what even comes now, right? Whenever you are reaching out to customer, what matters the most is trust and to always play by the rules. Even if it takes a little bit of time to take off and start. Talk me through, Saurabh, you mentioned about chatting with hundreds of customers and I know these days you're also posting these on social media, your one-on-one customer conversation and takeaways, right? What did you learn, right? Your initial hypothesis and what changed through these hundreds of conversations that you did and how important that part of the piece was?
Yeah. So I think one thing that we've realized is even the simplest product, the India's most favorite asset class, FD, is not very completely understood by an individual. And there is a lot of misconception about that, right? And this goes very deep to our childhood. And I'll tell you one example where we ask a lot of users saying that you have invested in FDs a couple of years back, and why don't you break that FD and reinvest in the same bank, which will offer you a significantly higher interest rate, which is actually a very good decision for your personal finance. And we realized that people say that breaking an FD is first a very emotional problem for them. And second, if you break an FD, you will not get any interest. And this goes back to the childhood where they remember their parents saying that you can't break FD. If you break FD, then you'll only get principal. And this goes back to when parents used to go to their branches and ask the branch manager ki mujhe FD todna, I need the money. He will always be against that, right? And we'll always put up some stories in doing this. So I think some of these we have realized, and we realized that it's not very easy to just put a video or put a statement or put a product which says that, okay, do it this way. I think you'll have to come up with a lot of trust in convincing people why this is an important decision making, right? And a lot of that we have factored in when we talk to our customers, when we go out in public, or when we build the product. Like, how do you convince about that? A lot of Indian investors still don't know that banks offer RBI insurance on FD up to 5 lakh. And if you are investing in a particular bank up to 30-40 lakhs, it's better to diversify that into this. And some of the top 1% of the investors who have wealth advisors, they always follow this. But this is not percolated to the retail investors. So I think these are some of the things we realize, that the problem is not very simple. Problem is not that you just have to do some partnerships with the financial institutes and bring that product onto the app and your work is done. Problem is doing a lot of education and hand-holding with the customers on the product, outside of the product as well. I think that is what is our key insight that what do we say, how do we build that and this was again one thing that we started doing a long time back, where we started talking to a lot of people that we aspire to be and started putting out their stories as part of Stable Stories, right? 4 or 5 months back, so that people can do the association that how these people have learned. Yeah. It's very difficult for somebody to associate with Stable Money, but it's very easy to associate with maybe Anand. When Anand goes out and tells the story, people relate that, okay, this is a person like me, I want to do that. So I think those are some of the pieces that we started doing much ahead in our journey, which is giving us a good result right now.
Yeah, and we were talking offline about this, right? While chatting with few of the first Stable Money customers, I was thinking about this, that we talk so much about new to credit, NTC, but we don't talk enough about NTW, right? New to wealth. I think India is that juncture where people are now thinking about wealth. They are trying to save more, and I don't see that intrinsics changing. And you guys are, I believe you guys will play a pivotal role as people understand and navigate their wealth journeys. So that's a very good philosophy to go by. So finally, the Stable Money product has come to life. We just launched, and by the time our viewers would be seeing this, we would be in the 3rd or 4th week of Stable Money's journey, product journey. So talk a little bit about how the first product looks like. What's the vision behind it?
So when we wanted to launch something in fixed income, we looked at the products that are available, and we found FDs to be in a great sweet spot. I think the rates right now are at a 5-year high, and we see them plateauing out maybe in the next 6 months or so. So this is the best time for people to lock in, very high interest rates. And then we went to, look at the broad data. We looked at RBI data, and we've seen that a lot of people have invested in very, very subpar, interest rates on the FD space. So we wanted to solve that problem first, which has, a very large impact. So what our product does is, A, lets the users, to explore the interest rates across more than 200 banks available in the country and figure out what is the best FD for him. And B, we've partnered with some of these banks which offer the highest interest rates and let the user, digitally book an FD within 3 minutes and without having to open a bank account. So for the average user, his FD return would improve by 1.5% a year just by spending 3 minutes on our app. And if you look at an FD for 3 years, that's an improvement of 5 to 6% in his returns without doing much. And we are also starting with a 1,000 rupee ticket size so that our product caters to the masses. So we believe we're going to find a lot of traction with this, and we guess this is going to be a very big pull product for us.
You have definitely converted me from a small cap investor to parking some money on FDs. And one feature which actually appeals to me as a consumer, and I pitch to most folks whenever I'm talking about Stable Money, is some of the banks available on your platform, right? It's insured by RBI up to 5 lakhs, right? And still you're getting a higher interest rate. So it's totally no-brainer, apart from obviously all the hard work that you guys have done to make sure that the features come out smoothly and the experience is seamless. It's similar to like how you order food on a Swiggy app, right? I'm guessing some of your learnings from Swiggy and Navi would have
I think we have also spent a lot of time building a very safe and secure platform. We realize that a lot of people who are booking investments have trust on the bank, right? So when anybody does investments with Stable Money, that money doesn't go to Stable Money. That money directly goes to the bank. Bank directly communicates with the user. And the data is in such a format that it is 100% secure, and only bank and the user knows about what they have done, right? So that level of data security and safety, it was very pivotal, and that's where I think the team has spent so much time and energy and capital as well to secure that. So yeah, I think that's also one advantage that we see that users will benefit from.
Yeah. No, I see that first question that everyone asks whenever they learn about the product is, and that's true for any wealth product, right? Ki safe hai kya? Yeah. So how do you think about building this trust, right? As you say, scale to thousands of users. Why should someone trust stable money?
So first is people should trust that the banks that they have got is completely RBI insured, the data is completely there, and that as a product of the company that we have solved. But as we are scaling this, I believe a lot of trust will be a borrowed trust from the users who are investing, right? You are like a micro influencer in your community when it comes to personal finance, right? When we are able to convince you that, hey, it's a no-brainer decision making, it's completely safe, right? I think the job then lies with these kind of micro influencers or people who can, whose trust we can borrow to get more customers. So I think that will be the philosophy for the next 3 to 6 months for us to rely upon. Otherwise, it becomes a very uphill task.
Yeah. And what should stable money users expect next, right? Should they see it as a fixed deposit app, or what are the other instruments that you are thinking, right? How should a user, when they're downloading an app, think about stable money?
I think for now, on the fixed deposits piece, we have 4 partners at the moment. We want to take that to 10 in the next few months and maybe 25 by the end of this year. So if users think of stable money for the FD piece, user ko koi bhi best FD country mein dikhta hai, you know, that should be available on our app. And the money directly goes to the bank. You directly, instantly get a communication from the bank to safety perspective se and returns perspective se, jo best chahiye aapko stable money pe milega. And we are looking to launch a few other products in the fixed income space, starting with debt mutual funds and corporate bonds. So 6 months down the line, we'll have 3 products. And 6 months down the line is when we expect the interest rate on FDs to also slightly go down. That's when the other products would be there on the platform, giving the users better returns then.
And what's the long-term vision? What do you want someone? I know it's still early in the journey, but when you are dreaming about stable money 7 years down the line, right? What are you envisioning stable money to be?
See, we have, I keep talking about these numbers when it comes to mutual fund, right? Mutual fund had a 3 crore investor base just 1 year back, right? And we know that this number will be 10 crores in next 2 to 3 years. And this number will be significantly higher 7, 8 years down the line. We believe that when new investors are coming in India and doing their investments, right, stable money has to be their first platform where they do their first fixed return investments. I think that's the vision that we have for stable money.
No, even when I think about India demographics, right, there are 25 lakh people earning more than 20 lakhs. There would be around 50-70 lakhs doing F&O trading. There would be 2.5 crores doing equity, then 4 crores doing mutual fund, and then there is FD, right, at 10 crores. And the number is just growing. That's what got me excited, and I felt that there's a big white space, right? There are apps out there for some or most of these products, but I don't see a great consumer experience app offering FDs and targeting that space. So that gets me excited about our first product. And over time, I'm sure we'll offer other products and would be the best destination for people to park their wealth. Moving on, Saurabh, Harish, what will be your advice? And I know you're a little shy to share this, given it's still early in your journey. But a lot of people dream about getting to this destination as well, right? Like we covered at the start, building the conviction to start up, then go ahead and raise money, launch your product, be out there, and then dream about scaling it and building a large sustainable organization. So people who are listening today and navigating that journey, whether should they take the plunge or not, what would be your advice to them?
So maybe I'll go first. I believe while starting, don't think, and we covered this, like don't think for a long term, that 2-year, 5-year or commitment. Just commit for that particular moment and take that plunge into getting this. And once you get into this, I always believe there are 3 very important decisions that you should spend most of your time on. First is which city to live in, whom to marry, and who should be your co-founder and the team. I think somebody who's starting should actually spend maximum time on the third part, because that's the team, that's the co-founder who will be that you will be working over a long period of time, where there will be a lot of learnings that will come from that. So I think these are the two pieces. And I've seen a lot of people who are starting or planning to start focus on fundraising and focus on idea. I think those are equally important, but I think this is one piece that people miss out, and I believe here is when people should spend a lot of time on.
No, great chatting, Saurabh and Harish. We are absolutely thrilled to partner with you guys, and look forward to be part of your journey. Great, and thanks for taking out the time. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.